Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Mordechai. Rabbi Sai, you're not going to believe this. Hayoim Tisha Barboim Yoim. Sheheim Shiva Shavuos. Boimer, Loimer. Mazel Tov to all the people that finished counting. Last night by Ma'ariv, as we were saying it, I wanted to break out in a song and dance, and I looked around and nobody really cared. You guys miss Niggin? Atchel? Givaldik. Rabbi Sai, we are very excited because a brand new song by Nissan Black, filmed by our very own Yaakov Citron right over here. Yaakov. He also did the last few videos without, I just called him up. Literally, I said, hey, could you do Shiluch HaKen? He goes, when? I said, now. He got in his car now, literally. 3 minutes later, he was filming. So here's behind the scenes. Rabbi Sai, take a look. Coming soon, right after Shavuos. If you don't listen to music, I'm sorry. June 16th. Yaakov. The masterpiece. Uh-oh. Where are all my emails? It didn't upload. Rabbi Sai, I guess we will jump into it. There's L'Kovid Shavuos. I got a beautiful email from, I forgot his name already. Side or something that he goes on the road, he wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and he does the daf every day, and he says that it keeps him connected to Yiddishkeit and keeping him on the straight path of what a Yid is supposed to do, even though he's on the road all week long from hotel to hotel. We can imagine what that means, hotel to hotel. From Reb Molandy. Here we go. A skvere yingeman. Could you zoom in, Dave? Shkoyach. Here we go. This is his first siyum. He did it with Kinyan Masechta. He did Tamid, but this is the first time he got a Yishmak and did a siyum on a Masechta, on a larger Masechta. So Mazel Tov to him. And then we had a few other emails about first time Masechtas. Okay, Chaval. Rabbi said we're holding by the Mishnah. Erev Kabbalah Sa'Torah. Today's Daf Kuf Daled by the Mishnah. Question is, we do have, of course we have sponsors. The Masechta Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnas HaChodesh, Lili Nishma Zechrya ben Moshe, Lili Nishma Zechrya bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh, Lirfua Shelaima, Neftali, Herz ben Leah, a hidden tzadik in our generation. Parnas HaShavua, Refuah Shelaima, Mordechai ben Adelman. He should have a Refuah Shelaima. Another email that I received, I just remembered, is that we were saying, I don't know where that is, the woman who gave birth, the Hatzalah's wife, somewhere over here maybe? Oh, here we go. Lana Devorah, Bas Hadassah, she was discharged from the hospital, Baruch Hashem. And we have to continue davening. She's on a recovery. Okay. Tonight, Be'ezer Hashem, Shir, right over here at 12 midnight. A nice spread will be served. Last year, there was not a seat in the house, so I recommend to come shtickle early maybe. And the rest of you will have seats outside by the door. The first shir in English is at 12. The second shir is at 1. The shir at 1 in Hebrew is actually a repeat of the shir this afternoon at 2:30. So we're going for 4 shiurim today, Baruch Hashem. This shiur, Kuf Daled, at 2:30 Kuf Hey, at 12 o'clock Kuf Hey, and at 1 o'clock Kuf Hey, in English and in Hebrew. All right. And Motzei Shavuos, big announcement, Rabbi say. Motzei Shavuos is Kuf Hey in English, but after the Hebrew one. In other words, Kuf Vav first. Usually we do Motzei Shabbos, English then Hebrew. But because I'm already giving the English earlier on Shavuos, and the only reason I'm giving it again on Motzei Shavuos is just to record it, so that's going to be the second year. Yeah, we have a chart. It's going to be announced. Did everybody get it? No. What you need to know, okay, for the English-speaking people, for English, tonight at 12, you got that? Midnight. Kechatzois. Motzei Yom Tov at 10:45, 10:45 for English-speaking. Whoever wants to see the show, whoever couldn't make it to the Shavuos one at 12, it's a repeat.
What's 2:30 today?
That's in Hebrew. Hebrew, tomorrow's daf, Hebrew. Like every Friday, we do the Hebrew at 2:30. Okay, now that we spent 5 minutes on that, instead of emails, we could go weiter. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Now, I have a question for the Olam. This question is worth 1,000 points, meaning it's not a yes or no answer. If a person gets married, and his wife comes into the marriage with a few debts. She owes a carbon, let's say. She owes money. Does the husband, is he responsible to pay her debt?
If he's smart.
If he's smart, maybe he wouldn't have married her. She has $2 million gambling debt. Does he owe it? She comes in, she owes a bunch of, she's Michal Shabbos a few times by mistake. She owns a few chatois. No? Anybody? What's the answer? No, I said it's not a yes-no answer. So anytime I say 1,000, you should know that it means, it depends. He owes the korbanos, he doesn't owe the money. That's the only reason I'll give 1,000. Otherwise, anybody could guess. It's a 50-50, right? Yes, no, machlokes. Zok Heilige Mishnah. So again, let's just repeat real quickly. There's something called a aris, a kablon, and there's something called a choicher. Mekabel, who's a aris, a sharecropper, he takes a field from somebody, he farms the field, and divides the profit with the owner. It's usually a third, 2/3. Sometimes it goes a third to the sharecropper, 2/3 to the owner. Sometimes it's the reverse. But they're splitting the profit. There's something else called choicher, which is similar to renting, and that is that the guy says, I will give you X amount of fruit, or sometimes X amount of money, X amount of fruit for your field, regardless of what it produces. So if I decide not to produce anything, or if I produce and it comes out not very good, I owe the guy the same amount every single time. Says the Mishnah. Person takes a field from his friend, and it happens to be a field that needs irrigation. It's not enough the rain that falls, but you need something, you need this thing going. You need irrigation, you need to irrigate it. Now, if you have the time, you could go pail by pail and fill, but that wouldn't be very smart. The aris, the farmer is usually responsible for this kind of thing. To bring the water there, he'll have to dig, do whatever he needs. But he sees there's a ready-made field. Here, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to worry about water. It has a water source. This is great. On the field itself, there's a couple of trees. There's a nice orange tree. There's some grapes. Geschmack. As I'm working, if the tree is included, I get to eat the fruit. So, I'll die to the hachi. I took this field. I had in mind, it's gonna be great. I won't have to worry about the water, or I won't have to worry about eating too much. I'll get free fruit. And then later on, unfortunately, the source of water dried up, and the tree was cut down, so there's no more fruit. Is he entitled to some sort of compensation? He doesn't get anything off the rent or anything. Why? Because he never mentioned it. He comes in, he sees there's a water source. Great. He didn't say, I'm renting this on condition that there's water. It was obvious there's going to be water. Now there's no water. Okay, so it's his loss. It was obvious there's going to be a tree there. I'll eat. No tree. But if he said specific, he says specifically, please, I'm renting it because it has water, because it has a tree. He specifies the tree, like the Gemara said yesterday, that you have to notify, you have to the Gemara said a few times yesterday. Over here is Mefarish, he did. If the water goes out, there's no more tree, he takes off whatever that's worth for that field. Says the Gemara, if the great river went dry, something like this, let's say, if the bigger river went out, in other words, it didn't only affect him, it affected all the fields in the area. We'll see exactly what that is. Why shouldn't he deduct? This is not my problem. This is a problem that everybody's suffering from. And as we'll learn tonight, 12 o'clock tonight, Rabbi Sai. Wow, if you guys can't even get an hour straight, how do you get the Gemara like that? I'm throwing the Gemaras one after another, halachas. That you get. 12 o'clock was too hard. 12 o'clock tonight, we're going to be discussing the Smakas Medina. So if it's a calamity, some zets that the whole area gets, then you don't have to suffer by yourself. You tell the guy, give me a break. Talking about that the smaller one went bad. Here we go. There's a little less water, but the smaller ones in between the field, that's what dried up. It's your problem, not everybody's problem. You have a way out of this. You could have brought pails there. Which reminded me of the famous story. I like to say the story when we're talking about Kibbud Aveim, where the guy asked the Brisker Rav, he says, I have to take a train to go to my father, and it's, you don't have to pay for your own with your own money to do Kibbud Aveim. If he wants pizza, he has to pay for the pizza. So who do I have to pay for the train? So the Brisker Rav said, no, you don't have to pay for the train. You just have to walk. In other words, if you have a way out of it, you have a way. So walk. Nobody asks you to take a train. Train is for your good, so you pay for it. Something similar, like, okay, these channels of water is for your benefit and makes it easier. I get it. You don't have that. There's other ways. Go water the field, pail by pail. Omer Papa. And now Papa just gives us a side. Interesting. A rare kind of thing. The first two Mishnayos that we just learned, let's say there's a minig Medina to uproot the wheat, so you shouldn't change it to cut the wheat. If the minig Medina is to cut the wheat, don't uproot it. Both of those situations, whether you're a kabla and you're paying a percentage of the fruit, or whether you're paying a set amount every year, the two Mishnayos work. We just had now that if I'm paying a certain amount and there's no water, I could, if I specified, I get a break, whether I'm an artist, whether I'm a chavar. Okay, it happens to be, Taisus points out, it should hit everybody. The end of the first Mishnah doesn't really work with chachronas. It only works, as it says over there, that you get yechoylek betvua, the grain, the shaft, that's not something that a charich, somebody that pays rent, doesn't split the actual grain and the wheat. That's something just the artist does. Okay, he says, but the main part of the Mishnah is in the klal, that it could go on both, chachronos and kablanos. Mikan ve'elach, says Rav Papa, you should just know, I'm telling you an idea. From here on out, all the Mishnayos, it's either or. It can't be both. This is kablanusa, this is chachronusa, this is chachronusa, let's be kablanusa. You either have kablanos, no chachronos. You have chachronos, no kablanos. Okay. Im amar loy chacharlis dei beis hashlochen zeh. If he says, We said in the Mishnah, he points, he says, I want a field that has water, and then the water dries out, he gets a deduction. So we have a very interesting concept over here. Imagine, this one, the first one is really, really strong. The other ones, not. Like, I mentioned to you that when I lived in Bnei Brak, a Rechav, Rav Kahanaman, back then it was called Refuah Shelaima. So there was a big orchard. They called it the Pardes. And the guy was waiting for the trees to die, and I think because he waited, he made a lot of money. You have to assume that over the years, every year, the price went up like crazy in Bnei Brak. This giant. So everybody called it a Pardes. Now, it wasn't a Pardes. If you went in there, there's not a single fruit that came off the tree. These trees haven't been watered in 20 years. The guy was just waiting for them to die out so that you shouldn't be over Baltashas. But it's the Pardes. So if he sells a Pardes, he's selling the Pardes. The guy can't say, whoa, I thought this is fruit there. No, it's a Pardes. Here's another example right over here. The guy says, I want to make a wedding. And here, we'll go back for a second. It's Buckingham Palace Wedding Hall, yeah? So just because it says a big sign, Buckingham Palace Wedding Hall, you'll be surprised. I myself have been to wedding halls here in Eretz Yisrael. I don't know what they're called. Armon, this, that. You walk in, Hashem Yirachim. In the middle of the chuppah, in the middle of the chuppah, the truck is backing up like into the chuppah. Beep, beep. And like everybody, it's this parking spot. I don't know what. And then there's another chuppah coming down. As you have to hurry up. They're doing 2, 3 at a... Just because it's called something doesn't mean anything. But here it goes a little bit weiter than that. If this is the field that the whole city calls Beis Kur, he has a go to the acre. The acre means a certain size. It's an acre, dunam, whatever you want to call it. Just because that's the name doesn't mean that that's the size. Pelepline. Ask the Gemara. When I tell you I'm selling you Beis Hashlachin, that's what they call it in the city. It's the Beis Hashlachim. Everybody knows that the water it has a water source for many years. Sometimes the water is there, sometimes it's not there. For the last 10 years, there's no water at all. But the name stuck. It's called Beis Hashlachim. So Mehechet Heisa, I have to provide you water. Miloi Tanya, we learned, Beis Kur offer, I'm selling you the Beis Kur. Now, a Beis Kur is a tremendous size. 75,000 square amas. Okay? I don't know what that is. 150,000 square feet, maybe more. I don't know. It's probably not the right cheshbon. That was Panovich math. Okay. 75,000 square amas. Even though it only has 37,500, half the amount of a kur, it's a half a kur. No, I sold you. Why? Because that's the name. That was the name. Vuhu, on condition, the Miskir Beis Kur. In that city, everybody calls it the Beis Kur. Go to the Beis Kur, we'll meet at the Beis Kur. They didn't take out a measuring tape and they measured a kur. That's the name. If I sell you karma, vineyard, this one I could understand. This one makes more sense to me. The first one I struggle a little bit with. But I'm selling you the vineyard. Yeah, it was the vineyard 100 years ago. But now there's we didn't see grapes there in years. That's we made a deal. As long as in the city everybody knows it as the vineyard. Pardes, interesting. What's a pardes? So you ask any Israeli pardes today, pardes. Pardes means like an orange orchard of what? So citrus usually. So I didn't even know if they had oranges back in the time of the Gemara. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. You have to look up. I don't know. Maybe. They for sure had a stroigim, yeah? They have oranges and grapefruits. Das weiß ich nicht. But over here the Gemara is talking about pomegranates. Pardes means pomegranate. So when I say pardes, even though there's no pomegranate, it's a deal. I do want to point out, because I heard this from Bibi. I don't usually quote Bibi, but as an American, I was wow. You guys might be used to it, but he said the other day, he said the tragedy happened on Simchas Torah, and then we freed these hostages on Erev Kabbalas HaTorah. And this is coming from the Rosh Hashanah. I was like, whoa, I'm not used to that kind of l'shoyness from, coming from a secular. So,
Oh, it's good that he's safe.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah. Kabbalas HaTorah. So, as a thing. And yesterday the Olam knew his name. I realized that I'm not the guy that Mamish sacrificed his life when they threw these grenades rimonim into the migonit. He took them one by one. As they came in, he took them with his own hand and threw them back. His name was Arnon? Aner. And people actually called their kids Aner based on him. He wasn't a chayal. He was a guy stuck over there. And he finally picked one up, I think number 7 or something. Huh?
7 flew back out.
Number 8 blew up and killed him, but he saved the other people there. So, Stam, it's the Neshama should have an Aliyah. Kabbalah Satayra. Vudimiskir Pardeisa. So, if this place is called Pardes, even though it doesn't have a single pomegranate, the sale is a sale. Alma asked the Gemara, Omar le Shmo ba Alma, Omar le Shmo ba Alma Amrilach. You could say, when I say Beis HaShlachin, it's no different than saying the Pardes, the Kerem, the Beis Kur. Hachanami nevelei Shmo ba Alma Amrilach. Omar Shmo le Kashio, Hada Omar le Machker le Choicher, Hada Omar le Choicher le Machker. If the owner mentions the name, he's used to the name. So he's not telling you it has a physical water source. He's saying, I'm going to sell you my Beis Kur. The other guy, the buyer, or I should say the farmer, the worker, when he says, I want the Beis HaShlachin, he's not talking about the name, he's talking about I want a water source. So the Gemara explains, he's just throwing out the name. There's a difference if the owner or the farmer is saying it. But when the farmer says it, he means literally I'm renting it from you, or I'm doing this sharecropping deal with you because I know there's a water source, and once the water goes away, I want to pay less money. Both of them are talking about that the owner said to the farmer. He's saying zeh. What does zeh mean? They're standing right there in front and they're pointing, here, this, you want this? I'm going to sell you this. So therefore, Beis HaShlachin lama leila meimar. So why would he repeat the name? He's saying the wedding's over here, and then he repeats Buckingham Palace Hall. Why would he say that? He's pointing. That the answer is because he's telling him here it has a water source. I'm giving it to you with a water source, and if the water source disappears, I will give you a discount. As Taisves, how could Ravina say that both cases are talking about where the machkir tells the choicher, where the owner tells the farmer? If you look in the Mishnah, it says Im Omar lo choicher. If the farmer says to the owner, not if the owner says to the farmer. It says Taisves is just simple pshat. What Ravina is saying, even if the owner tells the farmer, not that's what it's talking about. Even in such a case where Shmuel said that he was just throwing the name out because that's what he's used to calling it. Over here, he's makbid. The owner is makbid. The owner is saying, no, it has a water source, and I will give you a discount if not, because he's pointing at it. Even in such a case. What? According to Shmuel. No, because Shmuel, Ravina is talking to Shmuel. No, Taisvis is explaining Ravina. Ravina is talking to Shmuel. You are telling me there's a difference whether the owner said to the farmer or the farmer said to the owner. I'm telling you there is no difference. They're equally the same. The nafkamina is not who said to who, but where are they standing? If they're standing in front, then there's a nafkamina. Not that he's explaining, he would explain the Mishnah the way it is. He's going a step further. He's saying, Shmuel, you're completely wrong. Even in your extreme case where the owner tells the farmer, even in that case, he has to give him a discount. You're telling me no, because the owner said the farmer, he's used to the lashon. He always calls the base court to all his friends. No, since they're standing outside, he's showing that he's makbid, that there's water, and if there's no water, but he's talking to Shmuel. He's telling him how extreme he believes it. I'll take it all the way to the other side. Nothing to do with the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. So now, if you remember, a Papa said from here on out, every Mishnah could only be talking about one of the two, either an aris or a chaycher. It can't be both. So this Mishnah is talking about an aris. I made a deal with the owner. I told the owner, listen, you have a beautiful field. I know what I'm doing. I'm the hottest farmer. I know how to, Mamish, you're going to see crop like you never saw in your life. And we're going to split it. I'm going to get 2/3. You're going to get 1/3. If I kaifs him lakshin, you know how it goes. And what does he do at the end? Garnish mit nicht. Excuses. At the end of the year, you have something like this. The thing on the right side. Here we go, on the right. Okay, v'hoivira, left it fallow, garnished. What do you mean? We made a deal. You're gonna work it. You're gonna bring water. And we're gonna split. If you wouldn't have done this, there's 20 other people that offered me other things. Why? What are you doing? You take the field, the whole field. It could have made 1,000 tons of wheat. You give the guy a third, and that's it. Because it says in their contract is a contract, and they write. If I'll be lazy and I won't work the field, I don't give you the lower grade. I give you the best of the best. Oh, so we have a whole sugya. Could I write a contract against what Chacham say? This is not al das Chachamim, but yeah, it's not. I don't know that it's the biggest kiddush in the world. So why is that then by Chachirus also? No. The Chachirus is exactly. You do. No. Time out. Time out. What? How much should I pay you? Chachirus, I pay you $1,000 for the field. So I don't care. It's not even a havamina. I don't care. It's $1,000. Over here, I split with you the produce, whatever comes out. How much should I give you? There is no produce. Should I give you the best produce in the world, grade A or grade C? Or maybe it's grade B. Says the Mishnah, I give you grade A. There's nothing here. Now, what does this have to do with the daf and Erev Shavuos? Very simple. If a person learns Daf Yomi and he maybe doesn't get everything. Sometimes he falls asleep in the middle of the shir. Sometimes it goes above his head. But Lamaisa, he put in the effort. You get a lot of schar. If a person doesn't do anything, zero, then oy vavoy. You have to pay the top of the pot. You're going to pay. A guy that works the field and it doesn't come out so good. So he splits whatever came out. Grade C. If you don't do anything, zero. You're going to have to pay. Tavan kilo. You pay the highest amount. So now we're going to have a whole thing. I don't know how many, maybe 5. I didn't count. Maybe less, maybe more. That Chacham didn't put this lashon in the shtar, but us, hedyotim, people don't know much. They threw it into the shtar, and we can learn things from it. We'll go with it. This Anya, because the guy put it in the shtar, that's it. We go with it. A completely different halacha. So if a woman gives birth, she has to bring a carbon. If she's wealthy, she brings sheep. If she's not wealthy, she brings a bird. Now, there's the famous joke. That's something else. There's a famous joke that a guy came to the son of the gvir. He says, I'm collecting money for whatever. So the son took out a $100 bill, gave him $100. He's really excited. He takes the $100, runs to the gvir. Kalvachomer, he tells the gvir, your son just gave me $100 for my yeshiva. So the gvir takes it, gives him $1. He says, "What's das?" He says, "Listen, my son, he has a wealthy father. I don't." Okay. So over here, she's like, I'm poor. I have a wealthy husband. He's a multi-gazillionaire. I'm poor. No. You're married to him. No, I don't care what you wore before. Now you're wealthy. You bring the carbon. Don't try to bring a bird over here. Any carbon that she's chayav, in other words, chayva, if she did an aveira, she has to bring this, or when she gives birth, tsaras, whatever it is, he has to pay for it. It says even a carbon that she was chayav from before the marriage. Taisus brings a rishon that's trying to say that when you get married and you didn't know about this or you didn't know about it, but the wife comes into the marriage with debt, you also have to pay that. And Taisus says absolutely not. No, not debt. But a chayiv of a carbon, that yes. Why? Again, this is a language of just regular people in the street. We write it in the ksuba. the achrayus I'm taking upon myself, the minkadmis from before this marriage. So some want to say, oh, before the marriage also includes that. No. Terrible stuff. The people of Alexandria, they would do kiddushin. So we know what kiddushin is, right? So here we have kiddushin. It's the guy giving a ring in those days, and then they would take off for about a year. But at this point, since he gave her a ring, she becomes the Eish the called davar l'chayra. Ubishas knisasim l'chuppah. Then you have this. You have chuppah a year later. The shver, the guy collecting in the back, the two Eidim in the background. Givaldik. Come people and grab these collars for themselves. Other shomer Torah mitzvahs, Yirei Hashem. This is crazy. Guy gets engaged, and somebody else is going to chop the kala. No way. Let's decide now that all their children are mamzerim. Omer lehem hila zaken. It's hard to make kids mamzerim. It's dairy dairs. Let me see what the ksuba says. They brought it. When you go under the chuppah, that's when you'll be my wife, and not a moment before. So in other words, the kiddushin beforehand, there was no kiddushin. I decided whatever the ring was stama, I don't know what, a gift. But the actual kiddushin is like what we do today. Everything under the chuppah. Chuppah, kiddushin, I give a ring, the whole thing. So if a guy chaps her a moment before, it's not mamzerim. Is he a good guy? No, he's a terrible guy. In fact, it's known the Chazon Ish found out certain things, maybe about his kala. He refused to break the engagement. He held that breaking an engagement is worse than getting divorced. There are such things, obviously if you have permission from both sides, and it's different. Fine. I'm not going into that because a lot of people in this room broke their engagement. But breaking engagement, even today, without the Eish Ish part, is very chomer. So to chap somebody's kala, it's crazy. But we're talking about the worst of the worst, to make their kids mamzerim l'doyer, which you can't get out of. Okay, that Hill was able to get rid of the problem. So, because it's Erev Shavuos, I just want to mention, the Tashbet says on this picture right here on the chuppah, Tashbet was the Talmud of Meram Rottenberg, a Rishon. So he says the chuppah that we do today is a mashal. If you look at all the minhagim that we have at the chuppah, he goes through all the. It's a mashal to Matan Torah tonight, Matan Torah. That what? We're under a chuppah kofalim har kegigis. We're under this. He says the parents walk with these fires. It's the lapidei. All these things. That's what he says. It's because we are getting married to a kala. Hakadosh Baruch Hu married us. It's marriage. It's Matan Torah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu married us. Klal Yisrael. So the chuppah resembles sort of a Har Sinai, the Matan Torah situation. Zog the Gemara. Reb Yehuda ben Korcha Yidarish Loshin Hedyot. Reb Yehuda ben Korcha Katan Hakad. Reb Yeshua ben Korcha Yidarish Loshin Hedyot. The Sanya Reb Yeshua ben Korcha Omer. Hamal v'ez chaveroi loyi mashkenenu yoyser mechayvai. We're talking about a guy that owes money. He goes to Bezdin. This guy owes me money. How much? $1,000. So Bezdin goes and they take a mashkin, they take a deposit from him, they take something from the guy. He can't afford to pay now, so look, give me something. Now what do they take from him? Should they take his car? No. Can't take a car because a car is worth more than $1,000. If you give him something that's worth more than $1,000, he's going to take the car. The lender will take the car and tell people, hey, look, he owes me $10,000, the value of this car. The car and the loan, the car resembles the loan. So in Mela, you have to give him a mashkoin that's worth less than the actual loan. And he gets the mashkin. Rabbi said, does anybody remember here who owns the mashkin? Now that the malva gets the mashkin, does the malva own it or does the loiva own the mashkin? Who's considered the owner? The malva. Why the malva? Who's the Rebbe Yitzchak? Shkoyach. Wow, all the way in the back. Yeah, Dave, you got to give him a camera. What does Rebbe Yitzchak say? No, if you're already saying, what does Rebbe Yitzchak say? But put your face in the camera. Don't hide. Well, again. Beautiful. If it's not yours, how is tzedakah? Beautiful. So the Torah says they take the mashkin, and let's say it's pajamas, you have to give it back to the guy at night. And it says if you give it back at night, it's your tzedakah, the malva, your mekayim tzedakah. Now how can you be mekayim tzedakah with somebody else's pajamas? So obviously it's yours now. Oh, it's yours. So let me ask you something. Since it's such a Talmud Chacham, nobody else answers. What happens if while the pajamas by the malva, it goes down in value? You got some wine on it or whatever. It's worth $10 less. Who takes the loss? Since it's the malvas, it's his. He should take the $10 loss. Or no, maybe since I lend it to the live all the time, he should take the loss. What do you say? Misvara. What would you say logically? Not halachically. What would you say? Misvara.
This much I don't remember.
No, I didn't ask you to remember. I said just use logic now. Simple logic. What would you say if you were the rabbi?
I think you quoted the whole thing.
So logically, you should take the $10 loss. Okay, that's what the Gemara says. Very good. Hamavis chaver lo mishkanenu yoytzem mechoyve shekach koisev lo tashlumto de'islach olai kol kavel dechi. Whatever this mashkin is worth, that's what you're going to take. Beautiful story that I heard in the past, and I looked it up yesterday, and I found it. In the Beis Yaakov brings a story from the Chazon Ish that a guy lent somebody money, and he said, give me a mashkin. The guy says, I don't have a mashkin. He says, what, your wife doesn't have jewelry? He gave him his wife's jewelry. Of course, time came to pay up. The guy doesn't have a dime to pay. So the guy goes to the Chazon Ish and says, L'chayra, I'm allowed to sell the jewelry. He can't pay up. I just want the blessing of the Rav. So the Chazon Ish said, listen, maybe halachically you can, but think about it. If a guy is so desperate and he's putting up his wife's jewelry for mashkin, what does that tell you? Tell you guys, he has nothing. And not only that, says the Chazon Ish, what would it do to his wife when she sees another woman wearing her jewelry? That will really hurt him. I don't think you should sell it. So sometimes you have to. So we learned it here in this Masechta a few times. That you have to go above and beyond. What's the psukim, Rabbi say? Above and beyond. Huh? No. Very good. We also had another one, something toivim. Something like that you should act b'toivim, like the tzadikim always act in the good, whatever it was. Also. Torah says you could sell the mashkin, but really? You're going to watch this woman? Your wife is going to wear her jewelry? And they're going to meet in Shul, and what's going to happen? Think a little bit above and beyond. Oh, I don't know if we learned that over here, but we had something similar. Okay. Time of the kosav leihachi. We did learn that, but not in that context, I don't think. Time of the kosav leihachi. So now the Gemara asks, why do you have to write that? The value of the mashkin. What if he didn't write that? The mashkin is not considered the malva's. If the malva gives back the pajamas at night, and unfortunately at night the loiva dies, the malva could go and grab his mashkin right back. Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, so why do you have to write this lashon about the malva? Why do we have to add stuff that Chacham didn't add? What if the pajama goes down in value? Oh, I would say, like the Talmud Chacham in the back said. What's your name again? Yitz? Moshe, you're the guy that does all the coffee and the this and the turn on the machine sometimes, whatever. Okay, shkoyach. I know that's Avi Gagir, but he's not here today. Okay, so, one minute, you're not the one that comes early. No, that's you. Yeah.
What's my name?
I have no idea. The guy that comes early. There's a name, Beis Kur, the guy that comes early. Things have names. The early guy. So the $10 that comes off the pajama, you would think, like Rabbi Moshe says, that it comes off. Wow, I remembered it 10 seconds later. It comes off the malva. No, because I wrote something in the star, now it comes off the loiva. Reb Eli see another case where people on their own put in Lashonis. By Eric Adelman of Bigger Cup Consulting, Kidnovations LLC has zechus for quick and full Refuah Shelaima, Hatzalah member's wife, who's in critical, Lana Devorah, hadassah, who had a discharge today, but we still have to daven for, and as a zechus for Akiva Simcha ben Fega. Rabbi Yosef Yadarish Lashon Hedi Desanya Rabbi Yosef Yomer Makim Shanagu Lasis Ksuba Milva. Rabbi Yosef, you know how this goes. I'm sure there's some of you in this room that suffer from this yourself, or you know your brother or your cousin, where they're about to get married and you don't really want to marry this girl, and the father one comes over. Listen, I got $2 million to give you right after. Don't worry, right after the chasana, you're gonna get a deposit in the bank, $2 million, and after the chasana, he gives you a big feig. Yeah, happened. So in those days, it wasn't any different. The guy says, I'm going to give you a crazy amount of money. Ksuba milva. Goiva milva. So, real quickly, we know everybody remembers Nichse Melug. It's kedai to see this again. Chazara, why not? Nichse Melug. Rabbi, so we have Yoshi in the back over there. You could all give him Yishkoyach after Shir. A person comes in with a nursing home. She comes into the marriage of a nursing home. During the years, the husband takes all the profits. But if the value goes down, she suffers the loss. Nichse Melug. Nichse Tzarn Barzel is solid like metal. You come in with 100, I give you whatever it was worth at the marriage. It was worth 100, like metal sheep. He takes all this profit, but at the end of the day, if it goes down in value, he has to pay because it says in the ksuba, you write in the ksuba that I brought in the X amount of sheep or not sheep, and he takes the hit. So if you put them side by side, it looks something like this. If it's Nichse Melug, the loss goes to the wife. If it's Tzarn Barzel, the loss goes to the husband. So you're writing the ksuba that she's coming in with X amount of money, goiva milva, the husband could treat it as a loan, go to his father and say, pay up. Now what's interesting is in those days, to honor the kala, the father of the kala would exaggerate the number. Sometimes double, sometimes 3 times. Sometimes 3 times the amount. In other words, he only wanted to give $10,000 to his daughter. He writes in the shtar, I gave $20,000 to this marriage. Why? It makes it more geschmack. Tomer and I were in a shul once, and I'm not saying just it would be interesting if this is the thing. The people were throwing out numbers by Mishaberachs. You haven't heard something like this in your life. I'm telling you, it was just a regular Shabbos. $20,000 was a busha. Mishaberach, Bavur, that plenty gives $20,000. The poorest person in the shul gave $20,000 Mishaberach. The wealthiest was close to $100,000 or something. For a regular Mishaberach. Now, let's just say, stop. They probably paid off. But let's just say they didn't. It's Kavod Torah. You throw out a giant number. Why not? It's geschmack. You throw it out. Everybody knows in the shul. I'm saying a mushal, not that shul. Mushal. Everybody knows. You meant to say $1,000. You just have to come to me 50 times for the 1,000. So you say 50,000 for the. I don't know what it says. Loshet. Fine. So lichpoil. This mamish. It used to be in the time of the Gemara. Everybody in this city, you say double. In other words. Therefore, Bava Metzia. You literally, when you come to Bezin and sue for your money, it's exactly half of what it says in the shtar. Here it gets even better. Narbeloi Gavu Tilta. In that place, in Narbeloi, you only could get a third of what was said in the shtar, because you know that the guy exaggerates 3 times. You know that this is going to lead up to some issues, right? You go to another city and this. It's always, why? Just say what it is. Fine. But the Gemara says, Mereimar Magvin Nami Shvacha. Mereimar would say, pay the entire amount. But it says before you only take half. Why are you saying to take the whole thing? If you make a kinyan, you do one of these, kinyan sudar. So then, this I think it's Herzog, right? Is he the grandson of Rav Herzog?
Yes.
And his father was Herzog? I didn't know that. Bemis, I did not know. So his grandfather's okay. Yeah. So he knows what kinyan sudar is. So today, Mamish, very political today. So if you do a kinyan sudar, then you have to pay the whole amount. I don't care what it says. We did a kinyan sudar. Says Gemara, Ravinu mashbach v'kasav lebrate. Ravinu was magzim. He exaggerated and he wrote to his daughter a giant amount, but he meant to give half. Ravin himself, the author of the Gemara. That was the minhag in the place. Omerlei. So the Mechutin comes and says, Nikni minei demar. Could we just do a kinyan sudar on this? It just reminded me, now I have like Gary stuck in my head. He's like, what are you going to fool me? I'm Ravina, I wrote the Gemara. I know the trick of, you go like this and now you're stuck with the full amount. No, thank you. No. If you want me to do this, so I'm not going to write a double amount. You want me to write like everybody writes. You want me to give honor to the daughter. I'm not going to do king and sudar. A person was dying, he says, give 400 to my daughter. What did he mean? Rabbi Isai, he says 400, give to my daughter. Did he mean give her 400? Or did he mean give her 200? Do you have to double up what he said and make it 800 written, but 400 given? Or he said 400, you write 400 and you only give 200. So the question is 200 or 400? If he said give her, that means he wants to give her the full amount. So write 800 and she'll get 400. It's so complicated. Why become just write what you mean and mean what you write? Azoy is give honor. Sometimes to give honor is better than being practical, I guess. And if you said right, he didn't say give, oh, that's something else. Then exaggerate. I meant 200, but I gave the guzma 400. What? He could just say, give 400. Exactly, whatever. He was a shchimra, yeah. If he said le with a lamed, give 400, which is you write in the ksuba 800. In the ksuba, it's 400, but really she only gets 200. Says the Gemara, there's no difference. With a lamed or a base, it's an exaggeration, so you give half of what he said of the exaggeration. Even though he's on his deathbed, he's exaggerating, give her half. If he didn't say big suba, lik suba, then you give her the full 400. A person became a what? A kabbalon. What's a kabbalon? A artist, a sharecropper. Omar. If I leave it fallow, I'll give you 1,000 zuz. In today's language, what would it be? I'll give you $1 million. Give you $1 million. What's $1 million? Rabbi said, $1 million. Is he serious? When a guy says, I'll give you $1 million if I don't grow weed over here, he's joking. He's exaggerating l'char. You could say that. Oiver tilta. At the end of the day, he was only able to produce two-thirds of the field. 1/3 went fallow. So how much should he owe? $1 million. So $1 million is for the whole amount, but I did 2/3 of that. So I'll give you 1/3 of the million, which is how much? 333.3. Arin Arda, Dino Diav, Latlasmel, 300, Utlasim Utlas, 33, Vitilta and 1/3. I'll give you 1/3. Rav Amar, no, Asmachtahi. Didn't we learn about Asmachta? When a person exaggerates, he's not serious. He throws out a number to make you confident in everything, but he doesn't mean it seriously. Asmachta like Anya. $1 million. What am I? Are you serious? The whole field is worth $10,000. What do you mean I'm going to give you $1 million? So $1 million, just stop. So we have to ignore everything he said. What about the loss? So the Rishonim discuss whether he has to pay the real amount. But certainly not what he said. Well, the Rava asked the Gemara, it said in our Mishnah, if a guy says he promises, I'll work the field, and he doesn't, he has to pay as if it grew the best wheat and pay from that. Says the Gemara, very simple. He didn't exaggerate. He was saying the truth. I want to work the field. He didn't say, I'll give you $1 million. Since he says something silly, and we just erase everything he said. Says the Gemara, sesame is more expensive than wheat, but it causes more damage to the field. It takes more nutrients out of the field, so it weakens the field. So he says, listen, I want your field, I'm going to plant sesame. He has permission to knock out, to ruin the field a little bit. But he went ahead, he planted wheat. And he got lucky that the wheat produced the same value as the sesame, but minus the damage to the field. So this chacham comes back to the owner and says, listen, you agreed that your field should be damaged X amount. Let me deduct that damage that didn't occur from your amount. So let's just throw it out. Let's say the guy said, I'm going to make profit on this sesame approximately $10,000. But it's going to cause your field $1,000 loss. So today he got him $10,000 worth of wheat. That's exactly what he wanted. Let me take off $1,000. Let me deduct $1,000 from the $10,000 because I did not give you $1,000 loss. So Rav Kahana maybe we should take off the weakening of the land. People say, he says, look, I need the money. I need $10,000 a year. This is my living. I have kids. I have 5 kids at home. I need to give them food in their mouth. How much does that cost? $10,000. You're gonna take off $1,000? How am I gonna feed my kids? I'd rather you damage my field with $1,000 of damage, but I'll have $10,000 cash in my hand to buy stuff. I don't care that my field is not damaged and you give me $9,000. What am I gonna do with $9,000? How am I gonna feed them? Same story. They made a deal that he's going to plant sesame, but instead he planted wheat. And at the end, the wheat did more, not equal, more profit from wheat. Who should get the extra? The farmer. It was his idea to plant the wheat. Let him get all the profit. The field also contributed to the gain. So the owner should get part of this gain. Rabbi said we're doing a tiny little sugi here of Ezu Neshech. We'll just do a quick review. Givaldic stuff. Really, really good stuff. I did a few changes here to the my changes didn't go through. Unfortunately, you did an update and everything didn't go through. So it doesn't matter. Not major changes. Okay. It goes like this. I want to borrow money from you so that I could do business. I borrow money or I could borrow a product. So let's say I borrow from you 100 cell phones. You got them in China. I'm going to sell them on the street and we're going to make profit. So the way to do this is we do something called iska. We take anything you give me. Let's say you give me $100. So we just look at it as 2 separate 50s. 100 becomes 50 and 50. 50 is a loan. Don't fall asleep on me. It's very, very simple. 50 is a loan. 50 is a deposit. What does that mean? What does a deposit mean? Deposit means that it's 100% the lender's. 100%. He's responsible for the 50 deposit. Just a cool way of saying that the lender is responsible for half. A loan, the borrower is responsible for that half. So if there's a loss, what happens? There's a $10 loss. $5 is from the loan and $5 from the deposit. So we split the loss 50-50. What if there's a $10 gain? You would think, $5 gain to him and $5 gain to him. No, you can't do that. Why? That's what we call ribis. Why is it ribis? Why am I giving you a gain? I sat on the street, I bought product, or I took your product and sat in the sun in Manhattan selling cell phones. It took me 2 weeks. Why am I splitting it 50-50 with you? Because you gave me the product. That's called ribis. I'm paying you for you giving me product. I'm paying you for the money you gave me. That's awesome. But if I'm paying you for the time, I'm saying, listen, I'll take 2/3. I sat in the sun, I take 2/3 profit, you take 1/3, that's okay. So again, when it comes to the losses, we're going to split it down the middle, 50-50. When it comes to the gains, the guy that does all the work, the merchant, is going to take 2/3, and you're going to take 1/3. Let's see how it looks like in a picture over here. You have the guy on the left, he's selling the cell phones. The guy on the right owns the cell phones. He gives him the cell phones. They become partners. They're shutfim. We split it down the middle. Mamish. I had such good changes here. I want the revach to be 60, not 20. And I don't know what he did over here. He's in the back. You go speak to him. The revach, he gets a 1/3 of this. It should have been, if the profit is 60, then the guy on the right gets 20. Okay? 1/3 of 60 is how much? Yesterday we struggled in the Hebrew Shir. We all went to Panovich for math. 1/3 of 60 is 20. Okay. So forget this thing right now. We're going to change it later on. Or you could see it over here. When there's a profit, the malva gets 1/3, the levy gets 2/3, but when there's a hefset, it's 50-50. So, if there's a loss, over here you see there's this is great. They just shared there's $20 loss, they shared the loss for that 10-10. Says the Gemara like this, beautiful. And half of it is considered a loan, half of it is considered a deposit over Rabbanan Milsa, the Rabbanan did it in a way that the lender will never lose 100% of his money. The most he can lose is how much? 50%, because only 50% is a loan, the rest is a deposit, he gets it back. The loiva has to guarantee him 50%. And the loiva is not going to lose more than 50%, because half of it is not it. It's only half is a loan. There's a guy that did one of these iskas, Motzei, at least I saw it Mefurish and Reb Eli in Sefer. He was so excited with the $10 million loan that he got Iska. He went to Koil. He says, "Listen, I'm giving out $1 million. I want the zechus of the Torah. I'll give you $1,000 to 1,000 you in Galite that they should learn Torah, the zechus of my business." The guy that gave the loan was furious. He said, "That I gave you. We're doing business here. Don't start doing Hoichin Yanim." And Reb Eli Stefansky that every single avrich has to give back the money. It's gneva. That's what he paskin. Same thing over here, similar. He says, well, you're taking my 50% of the iska, you're buying wine with it, you're going to the bar with it? Rav Amar Lachi Kar Le Iska. That's why it's called a shutfus. The Amar Le, Ki Yehivne Lach La Suke Bei, the Limishte Bei Shichra. I want you to have skin in the game. I want you to be a partner over here, not to go drink it. Amar Avidi Bar Oven, V'meis, Nasa Metaton Eitzel Banov. The 50%, again, he's arguing, the 50% of the loan is in cash. So when a person dies and he leaves cash, the sons don't have to pay that back. If it was karka, yes. Why is it that cash the children don't have to pay? Because they're not samich das. Because they don't. The malva doesn't think that he's ever going to get it. But over here, since it's in the partnership, it's part of the deal, then he is soymich das, and it's like karka, and he could go get it. Rabbi said, I think that's kedai. I know that it's 8:08 because tonight is Shavuos, and I don't have. I'm going to show. I'll show charts, but I just want to show you real quickly. We could start the sugya at least. It's very, very simple. Mamish simple. Because listen to this. It's chachma over here. Because I share losses 50-50, and I share profits 1/3, 2/3. Something very interesting could happen here. If I divide the deal into two parts, okay? There's two parts of the deal, and one part was a gain and one part was a loss. Since the gain and the loss we don't share equally, something very interesting could happen here. If I combine the two deals together, so then the loss and the profit are one, and there's a bottom line. But if it's two separate deals, you're following? Two separate deals, one is a gain and one is a loss, a different number will come out. Let me show you how. Inspired by the diaper that the cow had the other day, MDY infants, we came out with a new product, Rabbi Say. It's called MDY pigeon diapers. These, if you have a problem on your porch, this could solve the problem. So this is a new product, right? So the guy goes, he's trying to sell this product. There's 100 diapers per thing. Instead of on one box, ignore everything, just look on top of the box. There's two. If you view it as two different deals, he has two boxes. One box he made 60. You see on the right side there's a green with a plus sign. He made 60. Ignore all the numbers. And on the left side he lost 30. So it's gewaldic. Let's think about it. Let's do the math together. On the right side he made 60. How much does the lender get from 60? 1/3, which is how much? 20. On the left side, they lost 30. How much does the lender lose? Half. 15. How much is 20 minus 15? 5. So remember that number. In this case, it's 5. But if it was one giant box of pigeon diapers, there was a gain of 60, a loss of the beginning. So there was a gain of 30. On a gain of 30, how much does the malva make? 10. So instead of 5, he's making 10. Says Rava, don't be silly and do it as two separate deals. Put it together as one, you'll make more money. And the same thing, Leiva, don't put it in two separate deals. I'm sorry, don't put it in one deal, make it two separate deals, and you Leiva will make money. So let's just read it. The malva will lose money. Rabbi, I have a wonderful day, a good Yom Tov, tonight at 12 o'clock. Motzei Yom Tov at 11:15. Shkoyach.